Fam, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys watching this video. I'm talking about the early visitor list for Alabama and Georgia. You got some big-time names coming into Tuscaloosa, Alabama. That's coming up next. I appreciate you guys being here. Please drop a thumbs up on this video, and I'll see you inside the comment box. So right now we know that A.K. Deer is coming into town, right? Premier running back out of Mississippi. Feels good to finally have him committed, right? Out of all these, who are you most excited to have in town? Who do you think undefeated? So when we look at the weekend visitors, we'll start up top with A.K. Deer, 4-star running back that is committed to Alabama. He was originally committed to Ole Miss. Then he decommitted, came to the recruiting barbecue, and announced that he is committed to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Really dynamic running back, speed, power. He's the number 2 player actually in the state of Mississippi behind Caleb Cunningham, who is a 5-star wide receiver who is absolutely electric. So think about this. You have the number 1 and number 2 players from the state of Mississippi. Now I know Caleb Cunningham went and visited with Lane Kiffin and, probably saw the buzzsaw of the offense. But I think overall, Ole Miss, they're doing good things with Lane Kiffin. But I think the personal brand and what you're seeing with Alabama right now is they can get you to the ultimate national stage. Not only playing at the highest level, but building your personal brand. Look at what they're doing right now for Ryan. I mean, look, I'm rocking the gear right here. You've seen the new podcast that they have. Like, this stuff is going absolutely national, and Alabama is doing it at the highest level. So, when you're looking for your NIL deals, when you're looking, to a program that can not only help you out while you're in college and ultimately get you developed to the NFL, Alabama, I mean, they haven't lost a beat in, what Coach Saban has established. So if I'm Caleb Cunningham, I cannot wait to get here and be a part of that. Right? You also have Chuck McDonald, who's a defensive back out of the state of California. He'll be making the cross-country trip to come to Tuscaloosa for the early college football Super Bowl. And then you have Derek Smith. I didn't know if I should list him as an athlete or a wide receiver or a defensive back. I mean, the guy is an amazing talent. He's an in-state prospect out of Selma, Alabama. He was committed here and then flipped. I don't think it's done between these teams, but he better make a decision before the class fills up. Now, of course, Courtney Morgan, it said, if they have room, they'll take you. And if you're good, they'll figure out how to get you here. I think he can absolutely play here, but you got to make a decision because these guys are not slowing down recruiting at all. And you see right now how Auburn is viewed by the national media. Players that are in high school, they read these narratives, right? Auburn, let's face it, they are not on the right trajectory right now at this point in time. Already had to make a quarterback change, before week 5. And you look to Alabama's quarterback room. Oh, exactly. In Rocket Town, you see what I'm saying? The name, image, and likeness exposure, what Alabama is doing right now compared to Ole Miss, compared to Auburn, there's honestly nothing like it. So Derek Smith has a lot to think about, clearly. Deon Lee, I love this addition to this class. Thank you, Jarvis, right? The class is filling up, man. Make a move. Talk to Courtney. Get it right. Make a strong decision. And look, even if Derek Smith decided to come back to Alabama, Alabama fans would welcome him with open arms. They would, he's a quality player. And these kids are like 17 years old. So there's a lot of big decisions to make. But Courtney Morgan has this recruiting philosophy pinned down to the teeth. There's no one better in college football right now recruiting like the GM for Alabama. Think about that. Deon Lee, I love this addition. He's a big cornerback. And what I do like about Alabama's secondary right now is how, they're young. Okay, so you have Xavier Brown who's playing, Zay Minty who's playing, Red Morgan, and they'll grow up. And, can you potentially take advantage of those guys, some bigger quarterbacks? I'm sure they're going to be targeted, But the point is, imagine how these guys are going to be by the end of the season, by next season. Deon Lee is 6'4", I want to say. And according to Greg Biggins in a story that I read, he's a West Coast analyst. He said that you cannot beat Deon Lee. I think that was a slam dunk addition to this class of 2025. Chuck McDonald's solid too. Duke Johnson, he'll be in town as well. Very good prospect. He's been very solid. And then how about this? This has been news. So Ivan Taylor was originally committed to Notre Dame. He's a 4-star defensive back out of the state of Florida. Then he flipped to Michigan. But I think if you read the tea leaves, and I would encourage you to read up on Ivan Taylor on your recruiting sites. It says he has a really close connection with Courtney Morgan, right? And he also has a connection to Colin Hitchler, right? Hitchler offered him when he was at Wisconsin. So I would imagine that Ivan Taylor, I don't make predictions. That's not my, I don't do that for recruiting, but it sounds like things are kind of heating up with Ivan Taylor. Let me ask you, for those of you that are really into recruiting, does it seem like things are starting to heat up with Ivan Taylor? It seems like that to me, which is good news. Also, it's amazing that Alabama still doesn't have a committed prospect from the state of Florida, right? Yeah, because, that was Coach Saban's, pipeline. But, Keelan DeBoer has been doing work on the West Coast. So, whatever. It doesn't matter where you're from. It matters how you perform here. Now, the big one, and kind of what's at stake when you look to Alabama versus Georgia, I kind of feel like the winner, I'm going to say this, the winner of round 1 of this matchup takes a major step forward with Justus Terry, the 5-star defensive lineman. Would you agree with that? I think this heavyweight bout will showcase Justus Terry it'll set the tone for his recruitment. I think that what's at stake is, I'll talk about that next, is SEC positioning and maybe Justus Terry. Now, I think that these teams, Alabama and Georgia, play multiple times this year. I'm just going to say that. So, it's a long time, but I think that Justus Terry's coming into town to see Georgia and Alabama, who wants to get it in the trenches. Big time prospect. Man, people, you want to talk about when we go live for major news. Justus Terry goes live, we're going live. This is major. Absolutely slam dunk if Alabama lands Terry. Keon Russell coming in. Alabama's leader at the quarterback position. Yo, have you guys seen? I need to do a video kind of recapping. Maybe that's what I'll do after Friday since we got a bye week. Yo, Keon Russell has been absolutely on point with this high school football team. This guy is throwing 70, 80-yard touchdowns. Have you guys seen Keon Keeley at high school? Yo, he's been balling out of control. That's another thing. If I'm like Caleb Cunningham or Latsier Brooks, right, and I'm looking at Keon Russell coming in, he's really the one who started spurring things early in June. Once he committed, and he's a 5-star consensus. The guys, has anyone besides me, I'm sure you guys have, seen his highlights as of late? Yo, he's balling out. Yo, Latsier Brooks, he'll come at another point in time. And look, go to your recruiting sites and see the full list of, there's many more people coming into town. But here's kind of just some, bigger names. Oh, and you know what? We can fix that right now. Good addition. Let me edit that real quick. Yeah, I'm responsible for all of the graphics on here, so sometimes I might have a few mistakes from time to time, but I'll clean them up. Thank you for pointing that out. It's Keelon Russell. My bad. Been talking a lot about Keon Keeley. Keelon Russell. All right, cool. Got it updated. You'll see it in 2 seconds. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys helping me out, being the extra eyes and being patient. Yeah, it's Keelon Russell. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm sorry. Made a mistake. Sorry. But we got to update it. So yeah, he's absolutely balling out of control. That is fact. Bama Mike says he'll flip at least one wide receiver. Bama Mike, you're out in New Jersey, man. You go watch Latier Brooks, man, and give us the firsthand feedback. And then you have another 5-star in Ty Haywood. There's some more footage that's floating around like on social media of Ty Haywood. I didn't realize how massive he was. He's an outside tackle. He's towering. And look at this too. Like you have Keelon Russell coming from Texas, and you also have Ty Haywood coming from Texas. Those are some great Lone Star State additions. Josh, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. So, I mean, look, this is just an early list, and who knows, maybe there'll be some more surprise visitors, but I love this list already. So you guys let me know, who else you guys are excited about inside the comment box. And I would imagine, AJ, that Keelon will be an early enrollee. I mean, most of the top-end premier prospects are, right? All right. That's our kind of early recruiting watch list. I appreciate you guys being here right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Okay, so as we turn the page and kind of just take a snapshot look at this game, you see that Georgia is a 2.5-point favorite against the Alabama Crimson Tide. All right, 6 p.m. ESPN. Georgia 3-0, Alabama 3-0. Georgia led by Carson Beck, who has 680 yards passing, 7 touchdowns. Yeah, ETN, who has 157 yards. Lovett, who has 155 yards. And CJ Allen, who has 15 tackles. And we know who Alabama's leaders are, right? I quickly glanced at the Pro Football Focus ratings. I've said all along, I feel that Alabama is the favorite in this game. Now, the national headlines seems like they're riding with Georgia, which is fine. I think that Alabama's a favorite. I mean, I've watched the two teams, and even though they struggled against Kentucky, we all know that playing on the road is challenging. I just wasn't that impressed with Georgia. Now, they'll, of course, bring an amazing challenge for Alabama. This is a team that's won, they're almost 34 games in a row. This is a team that has a great coach, has great coaching staffs, has great athletes, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. But I honestly feel that Alabama is the favorite in this game. And I think, and I showed this graphic yesterday, and I'll continue to show it as we continue to cruise through. But look, I mean, you look at the fact that Alabama has won the last 5 and 6, and look, none of this on the screen matters at all for this next game. But it is fact, right? Alabama won last year. Georgia won in 2022, but besides that, it's been Alabama. And it's been Nick Saban. That's been a real challenge for Kirby Smart. And I think kind of, when you look at this game and you start to think about, like, what is at stake? Well, early season SEC positioning, right? And I think later on as we go through the season, Georgia will be highly ranked. Alabama will be highly ranked. And when you look to where these teams could fall in SEC, I think I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if you see these two teams play again in the SEC title game. With that being said, if you look at Ole Miss's schedule and Texas' schedule, those teams have a real clear shot to be number 1 and number 2 in the SEC. whatever, I feel that there's a real possibility that Alabama and Georgia play more than one time this year. Todd is bringing to our attention that ESPN has a FPI of 57% for Bama. Yeah. I saw somewhere it said 67. Yeah, where is that, Josh? Oh, yeah, that's where I saw it. It was ESPN, right? 67. I just think that Alabama's a favorite. I also think it'll be, look, Coach Keelon DeBoer, he's performed very well in a lot of these marquee matchups and against big-time coaches. Now, he hasn't gone up against Kirby Smart before. 2-0 against what? Dan Lanning. He's undefeated against Lincoln Riley. He's undefeated against Steve Sarkisian. So the guy has already coached against elite talent, but he hasn't played in an SEC game. He hasn't coached in an SEC game. I'm not worried about that. I mean, the way his demeanor has been really amazing as a leader, as a coach. And I was thinking about this too. One of the great things about Coach Keelon DeBoer and anyone that was going to take over this job following Coach Saban, I don't think, honestly, I really feel that Coach Keelon DeBoer has a zero ego. He doesn't, right? He's always been so gracious and understanding where he's at, but like I've never seen any type of ego. And I think that would be hard to do taking over. Like these guys are powerful men, right? They're in the prime of their life. They're making $8 to $13 million a year. You want to come in and like pump your chest. Like Lanning has an ego. Sarkisian has an ego. Smart has an ego. I'm serious. I don't think that Coach Keelon DeBoer has an ego at all. Which is amazing when you got the keys to Alabama, right? And it's, it's a battle for SEC, like, the superiors, kings of SEC football. But I think early season recruiting wars, like, there's a lot at stake in this game. What do you think's at stake in this game? Certainly there has to be more, right? I mean, it's an early season showdown. I just think recruiting, national notoriety. And I think, when you look to these games in the future, this game will come into play. Oh, I mean, yeah. You imagine the views and the overall brand of the two programs. People want to see. They want to see Coach Keelon DeBoer play in a big-time game. They want to see him win a big-time game. You beat Georgia at home, college football game of the week. Man, that stock's going to continue to rise for Coach Keelon DeBoer. Hey fam, thanks for watching this video right here on Bama Football on YouTube. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up, and I'll see you inside the comment box. As news happens, I got you covered right here at Bama Football on YouTube.